Welcome to Yenga's Corner, podcast empowering women of all ages through God's Word.
Hello, dear friends. Welcome to Yenga's Corner. Excited that you can join me here today. As we progress, today we're in episode 2 of our Project 50. And in the last episode, I talked about where I came from, little me, the little girl in me. And today I'll talk about what I have shaped so far. God has blessed me with 3 wonderful children, my husband and I, and today I want to thank God and to honor the daughters that God has given me. There's amazing creatures from the day that I held them, from the first day that I held them in my hands, tiny, fragile, yet so filled already with their purpose. It was just amazing. They just crept into my world, and from the very moment that I held them in my hands, I knew that my life was going to be changed. So for those who are mothers, I'm imagining that it's the same thing for you too. Like the joy that rushes in your heart when you hold your baby in your hands. And I would just like to share the things that I have learned from my daughters, because oftentimes we think as parents that we are always the ones that are teaching our children. But in essence, they're also teaching us. They're teaching us things. And if we are open enough to learn, we will actually grow more than they will grow, because we have more understanding on things and lessons learned. And so these are some of the lessons that I have learned from my daughters. And I hope for those who are parents that you're learning something also from your children. So there's 2 young adults that have grown up to be amazing young women, have taught me 3 things, among others, that I'm going to be talking about today. And the first thing that I learned from them, that they taught me, is really their courage and ambitions. You know, that sense of pursuing that which you desire, you know, that courage of facing obstacles head on. Sometimes I look at them and they tell me their projects and what they do, and obviously, like any other mother, like I'm there cheering them, and in my heart I'm like, how are you gonna do this, and so but in areas where maybe myself, I've been asking or I've been hesitating, for them, they have run with it. And in areas where I'm breaking walls, they're flying. So I have been able to learn these things from them. And sometimes they're the ones who encourage me. I'm in front of a challenge, an obstacle, or maybe a project that is too big for myself. And I'm thinking, how am I going to take this on? And they're like, Mom, yeah, you're capable of doing this. Absolutely, you can do this. And I'm like, really? Really? So sometimes I borrow from their courage, I borrow from their faith, because they are so courageous, and I have raised them like that, but not knowing that they're actually going to feed it back to me. So, number one, it has been learning from them the courage and ambition that they have. Then they pursue it, so relentlessly. And so that's something that has been amazing to watch in them. The second thing is their love for God. I see, and they remind me of myself, because I accepted the Lord at the age of 9 years old. So, and to see that passion in them, their love for God, and aligning their lives with God's word, it is just so beautiful. In a society where, young people, they can go around and do all kinds of things, but they have allowed God's word to model them and to shape them into what they are. So that has been so beautiful to watch. And the third thing that I've learned from them is obedience. Obedience to our instructions as parents, and also obedience to God, without always having to, but why, give me the full blueprint before I can actually obey. And so that has been something that it's a huge lesson for me, because sometimes even myself, I don't fully obey God. There are times where I question God. There are times where I almost want God to enter into what I want. And it's not always the case. Trying to fit God in my plans instead of fitting myself in God's plans. But these girls, they have taught me that, because every time I have given them instructions, they have taken it at face value and they have obeyed it. So this obedience of not questioning, and it's not because they're not smart enough to question, but it's because they trust. They come from a place of trust where they know that mommy has their best interest. And not only that, but also because they know whatever it is that I tell them, it's also in accordance to God's word. Because oftentimes I will back it up with God's word. So it's not just me, hammering down my thoughts and my this and this. And this is obviously in big issues. There's some things where if they feel that, Mom, we're not sure here. Are you sure this is what you want us to do? They would always come back and we would have that conversation. They're not just going to be doing things blindly, but that obedience that has made parenting a little bit easier for us. I am so grateful to God, and I have learned a lot from them. And friends, this is not to say that they have been perfect kids. No, I've had my shares of tears. I've had my shares of wanting to strangle them or even return them, but there's no return policy on those kids, But these are things that I have learned from my daughters as they're growing up as women, because myself, like, I didn't see my own growing up, so I am seeing it in them and see how they're developing, and it has been so beautiful to watch. So friends, I don't know for you, are there young people around you, maybe your own children that you're learning from? Because we are never, we can never say that young people cannot teach us, or we're too grown up to be able to understand. No, we can grow and we can learn from anybody, even including our children. And there's a verse that I would like to share with you. It's in the book of Proverbs, chapter 25 and verse 12. It says, "Wise correction to an ear that listens is like a gold earring or a jewelry of fine gold." Wow. Wise correction to an ear that listens is like a gold earring or jewelry of fine gold. That is the perfect match. When you have wise correction and an attentive ear or a listening ear, it is like a piece of gold jewelry, refined gold. How beautiful is that? So this is what I have learned from them, that obedience. And obviously my obedience, I'll do it not only to God, but also to authority, to my parents, because that is what I am learning from them. Because sometimes you just don't need to always just go with, oh, why is this, why is that? So today I wanted to honor these two young women. I know my son might feel left out, but your turn is going to come. This one here, it is for the women in my life. And it was proper to honor these two amazing women that have also contributed in my becoming. They have taught me and they have challenged me to become a better mother. They have corrected me, and for that I am grateful. So I hope this has resonated with you, friends. And if there are young women in your life, it could be maybe your sisters, it could be your children that have taught you. What is it that they have taught you? Please share in the comments and let us grow together. Until next time, friends, stay rooted, stay true, stay blessed.